welcome poor man's Gambit.
Huge thanks to Danny and Bob for hosting this house concert, for putting us up not only tonight, but also last night, feeding us and opening their home to us. So thank you so much to both of you. And thank you all for coming out, as Danny said, on a Thursday night. Shows like this on weeknights are what enable us to actually travel and survive on the road. So we're excited that you're all here. The reason that we're here, we were hired to play out in Oklahoma at Northwest Oklahoma State University, and that show was 2 days ago, and we're now on our way back to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So we'll be stopping in St. Louis tomorrow, Cincinnati, Ohio the day after that, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania the day after that, and then we're home free before we're off to North Carolina that weekend. So we do play mostly traditional Irish music. We start off with a couple reels, which are dance tunes. And
hey, I just changed the string.
And so we're going to continue now with a traditional Irish song. This one's called The Rocky Road to Dublin.
bride was born. Up to start the black door, the vanish goes. Three robins it ain't never grows. Rattling o'er the bogs and frightening all the dogs. On the run goes the double and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the hand and turn it down the run goes. And all the way to double and work for all the wrong. So baby started right the night next morning, bright and early, took a drop of the pure. Keep my life from sinking, that's the best cure. When you saw the drink and see the lassie smile, laughing all the while, acting third and style. Set your blood the blood of my hands where I was hard. Made decided where to lie, was almost tired. On the rocky road, double and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. On the head and turn it up the rocky road, and all the way to double and rock for all you are. Right,
house concerts, we welcome any questions that you have. I would say on the spot, but not exactly on the spot. Maybe wait till we're not in the middle of the song. Maybe. But yeah, feel free to ask us any questions that you have about anything that we're doing up here. I'm going to play a set of tunes for you next. Some tunes that I've been playing since I was a kid. The first one is a type of Scottish dance called a strathspey. So you might be familiar with reels and jigs that are typical in Irish and Scottish music. So Scotland has a dance called a strathspey, and this first tune is that kind of music. And then I'm going to go into a couple of jigs.
if you all ever tour in Europe, in Scotland.
We haven't been there recently, but many years back the band went to Ireland and England for 2 different tours.
Did you go to pubs and just jam with the locals?
I mean, we did in addition to the gigs, but
That was the coolest thing that I've ever probably experienced music-wise.
yeah, it's cool over there.
Problem with trying to tour over, they were playing Irish or Scottish music. There's so many Irish and Scottish musicians.
It does make it tough to sell them back their own music.
Hey, you guys want to hear Irish music? You're like, no, we want to hear country and bluegrass music.
I can't tell you actually, after almost every gig lately, somebody has come up to us and said, I'm so glad I got to see you guys play real Irish music because when I was over in Ireland, I wanted to see music. I asked them where there was music, they told me where to go, and it was country music. Every gig, because that's what they like over there. You know, it's kind of hard to find the traditional stuff, you have to know where to look.
The traditional musicians there are touring in the United States.
Yeah.
They're making life difficult for us over here. But so we're going to continue now with a Ewan McCall song, and this is one of our favorites of his. So we did up a version of it. This is our version of The Ballad of Accounting.
Wait, can you just move again?
That's
Do you have an A?
Oh, Caleb.
that's what I got too.
Okay, it stayed where I left.
Okay.
Sorry.
seeing some yeses, some nos, and some so-sos. So I'm not sure if any of you might be familiar with this tune. It is, or this song rather, it's relatively popular as far as traditional Celtic, Irish, Scottish songs go. So you may have heard it before. It goes by two different names, Wild Mountain Thyme and Will You Go Lassie Go. So if you're not familiar with it, the lyrics to the chorus, which we'd love you to join us on, goes like this. Will you go, lassie, go, and we'll all go together to pluck wild mountain thyme all around the blooming heather. Will you go, lassie, go? There's about 68 verses, so I think you guys are going to get it back. Practice makes perfect.
One more time.
plus from us. That's the best participation we've had on the tour yet so far. So, and this is day number 8. So you guys are doing pretty well.
Yeah, you will be happy to know you sang way louder than Toledo.
Danny mentioned that she hasn't had an Irish band before, right?
We have not. Shame on me.
I mean, there's so much music. But who is here, like, is familiar with Irish music? Is anyone involved in?
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, you can't get away from it.
So the rest of you are Irish curious.
Yeah.
How'd you get involved?
Well, my mom was the first of her siblings born here, so she has 6 older siblings born in Ireland. My dad is not Irish, but he went to school for music. He's a diehard musician, mostly classical, but he really liked folk. And when he met my mom, he just got into the Irish music, and yeah, then he the rest of history. That's my
Oh, sorry for keeping that going. Yeah, so the question is, how did I get into Irish music? So, my mom saw Lord of the Dance or River Dance when I was very young. Decided that that's what she wanted me to do. So when I was 4 years old, she forced me into Irish step dancing classes against my will. She actually wanted me to start earlier, and the teacher said he has to be able to walk first. So I did that competitively. This is all totally true. I did that competitively for a number of years, 12 years I guess, and then I decided that I wanted to get involved in the Irish music aspect of it, probably because it had been drilled into my head multiple times a week over 3-hour practices for Irish dance. But I, as most 16-year-olds decide, it came down for me between the Irish button accordion or the tenor banjo. So I was going to play one of them. It wasn't a rock guitar, but that's what I wanted to do. So for some reason, I went with the accordion, and here I am.
Are you going to dance?
Well, you spoiled it now.
That was the big surprise.
Where? You said you're heading back to North Carolina, is that your home?
No. So we're from about an hour and a half north of Philadelphia in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
But we're going to be back home after we get back from this tour. We're going to have 2 days at home to kind of catch our breath, and then we're off to North Carolina for a 3-day, 3-gig weekend. And then he flies back to Portland, where he's from, and we follow him about a week after that. We're out there for 2 weeks in Seattle and Portland. Yes, it is.
So how does Portland get together with Philadelphia?
Necessity. He's looking for work, and we're looking for a guitar player.
Yeah, all Irish musicians know each other, basically. Like, it literally is true. We've all played together typically, or toured in one way or another. So, yeah, Corey and I met years ago in a totally different Irish dance and music show that we were doing. And we've stayed friends ever since. And yeah, sometimes it just happens. Like, we need you, which is always nice to hear.
So what's your backstory?
Oh, my backstory. Well, I was fortunate enough to grow up with a lot of different types of music in the house. My parents had a very eclectic interests, and some of that, my mom, amongst other things, played Celtic harp and loved traditional Irish and Scottish music. But it wasn't until I was about 13 or 14, I saw a wonderful film produced in the early 90s in Ireland of an American director, John Sayles. It's a little film called The Secret of Roan Inish. If you've never seen it, go look for it. It's fantastic, beautiful little film. But it had tons of great traditional music in it, and I think that was one of the things that just really grabbed me when I was about 12, 13. And, then I saw River Dance and saw Dave Spillane playing the pipes and the low whistle. It was too late for me at that point. Went downhill from there very rapidly.
So anything that we're playing that doesn't have lyrics are dance tunes. Not a whole lot of room for you guys to get up and dance, but you can do some chair dancing. Tap your feet, clap along if you want. I'm gonna play some reels for you. And yeah. Unraveling yesterday, so I had to do an emergency replacement today. They don't like.
I was gonna say, I thought most violins come pre-tuned from the.
Compared to the Citroen, I never have to tune this thing. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2.
this is a bodhran type of drum from Ireland. It's spelled B-O-D-H-R-A-N because that's Gaelic and they like putting silent consonants places. So pronounced bodhran or bowran. What makes it unique is that you have sorry, I'm balancing instruments here. You have a skin on only one head or one side of the drum, so it's open on the back. So most drums that you would think of would have heads on both sides. But what that enables you to do is get your hand in there on the back of it and push on the drum head. So first off, that helps to mute it a little bit so you don't get so much ringing, like that. It doesn't sound like that if I'm actually playing because I'm muting those overtones. But then also the more pressure you apply to the drum head, the higher your pitch goes, and then the more relaxed you allow it to be, the lower your pitch drops. So the right hand is all rhythm, the left hand is controlling the pitch of the tone.
How do you push that in? How do you push it in?
Oh, just with your hand on the back, just pushing
Okay,
against it like that, yeah. Does that make sense?
yeah.
So there's the bow round for you.
This is called a guitar.
Yeah, nobody ever asked what we're playing.
Never asked. One day.
Although you put a spray on it, what's that spray?
Yeah, that's always the question that people are asking me. It's just this lubricant basically that allows you to. I use.
Shamrock dust.
I guess, yeah, exactly. I guess you could say the unique thing about Irish guitar is typically, as I am, a lot of people they don't tend to use standard guitar tuning when playing this music. They'll typically use right now I've got a drop D and sometimes D, G, A, D tuning, and those allow you to kind of play a lot of modal chords that fit really well with the music, and also you get a big bass sound out of it, so I use very thick, heavy strings, and this helps me slide on those strings, basically. So as you can see, a lot of what I'm doing, I'm actually almost kind of the bass player in the band, really.
We're going to continue now with a non-traditional Irish song. This one is a composition by Josh Ritter, who's an American songwriter and composer. And it's a love story between a man and his boat. And he's...
Does this remind you of someone you know?
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. You haven't heard the story yet.
But so he's coerced into taking this ship on a voyage that he would rather not, and it's kind of looking for the fabled Northwest Passage through the ice. So it winds up getting trapped in the ice, and he's the lone survivor who needs to chop apart the ship and burn the wood in order to keep himself alive. And so he does wind up getting rescued. He's taken back to civilization and spends the rest of his days wondering, why did I survive and I no longer have my ship. So this one is called Another New World.
Leading a light to the age, all wondering what I would do next. After all that I had found in my travels around the world, was there anything left? Gentlemen, I sang, was stuck in the charts, and if what I am thinking is right, there's another new world at the top of the world, for the first one that breaks through the ice, and I look around the room. Not the way I once had, they saw that they wanted belief. So I said, oh, I've got my guts and my gun, and I paused, and the Annabelle leave. Oh, the Annabelle the charts and I took a course north towards dawn and drifted towards sleep. And I dreamed that I'd find me where I'd find past the ice, going in a believe that I'd got older. The world got quiet, it was never quite that quiet night. And the sea to the color sky, to the color sea, to the color lights. To the dust all around us was vastness, but great as sweet desert of arsenic white. And the waves once lifted us, shifted instead into drifts against Annabelle's sight, and the crew never closer. The first one warm, each morning would bring a new set. Patrick's in the snow, burning over, yet the world was the only one left. After that it gets cloudy, but it feels like I've learned every days. Maybe 4 months, oh, but Annabelle held me, just the two of us, happy to think back on all we had done. Oh, we talked on each of the new worlds we discovered. She gave up her body to me. Well, the color remains and the temperature over all we still have to see. As the frost turned to moorings to green tails and the winds lashed the sides in the cold. Oh, I burned her to keep me alive every night in the loving embrace of her home. And I won't call it rescue. It brought me back here to the old world to drink and decline, and pretend to search for another new world was well worth burning up mine. Sometimes at night in my dreams comes the singing of some unknown traveling over. I smile in my sleep thinking Annabelle leaves, but we made it to another new world. Sometimes at night in my dreams comes the singing of some unknown traveling over. I smile in my sleep thinking Annabelle leaves, and we made it to another new world. Thank you very much. We've got one more, and then we're going to take a short break. I guess we should have taken a break now, but you know. This next one is, we're going to start out with something that's not Irish. It is a French piece, I believe from Brittany, which is a sub-region of France, and they have their own distinctive dialect and music and dance and culture. And so I believe this is an andro, which is a type of dance that they do there, and it's called La Reine, which means, I believe it translates as the queen. However, when I first learned it, I learned it as the wren, as in the type of bird, which I don't think was a mishearing on my part. I think it's kind of,
No, it seems
it's
like
in
it's
the
pretty
culture.
standardly accepted as the red here in the United States.
Yeah, and that happens a lot with traditional music. It's probably rare to find a tune that only has one name, or even only two, just because a lot of people learn this music by ear, and so they don't have sheet music that would have, you know, anything written on it. And if they didn't get the name from someone, you make it up, or you call it after who you learned it from, or you have to do a lot of research. So we're going to start out with that, and then do it into 3 reels, so 3 Irish tunes. The first of which is called Pass the Baby. It was written by a friend of ours named Matt Burke in Reading, Pennsylvania. There's a great session out there, which is basically like a jam session, but Irish players are too cool to use the word jam. It's just a session. And it's exactly what you'd expect. It's a bunch of musicians from the community or who happen to be traveling through the area, just gathering in a bar or a pub. There's obviously plenty of alcohol, and they just keep the tunes and songs rolling. So it's a great meeting spot, usually on weeknights for those of us who are in this type of music to get together and share some music with other players. So there's a great spot in Reading called the Ugly Oyster, and that's where Matt co-hosts that session. So he wrote the tune called Pass the Baby that we'll start out there with after the French piece, and then the two final reels are traditional tunes called Kiss the Bride and Reconciliation. So we're going to take a short break following that. I know there's a lot of great looking desserts over there, so make sure that you hit those, and we will see you shortly after. Yes.